If you believe that the way you can dig yourself out of the hole that you're in is by working harder, you're going to be disappointed by what I have to share today. So, hello. I am going live right now inside of the private community that I serve called Rooted in Peace. Rooted in Perfect Peace, Anxiety and Burnout Freedom for Christian Women. And I am excited today to dive into the topic of Isaiah 40:31. I mistyped it in the post details. I'll fix that. But we're going to come together today and look closely at Isaiah 40:31 and discuss what it really means to wait upon the Lord so that we can renew our strength. And then we're going to talk about how can we use what we know about scientific study to train our minds and our bodies to do exactly what we are called to so that we may renew our strength. So excited to be talking about this topic today. So if you are watching live or if you're watching on the recording, I just want you to put a hello or hello in the comments or drop where you're from. So put your state, put your city, whatever. And just so that I know that you're here and that you're with me, Facebook's going to tag what you drop and when you drop it according to the video as it goes. So it's going to be awesome. So I'll be asking for engagement throughout the video for a couple of reasons. The main reason is because neuroscience has proven that the more engaged you are in what it is that you're learning or that you're watching or just taking it at the time, the more likely you are to remember it. And if you're really feeling wild and crazy, you can say things out loud too. So let's dive in. I hope I'm not like too bright for you today. I've got my neon green on. This is my favorite shirt. It's my Team 413 shirt from Grace Runner Ministries. It's I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I got this at a half marathon like 10 years ago, and I still absolutely love this shirt. So we're just going to keep that in mind as we go through today. So if you don't know me, just real quick, my name is Christy Chandler. I'm a burnout elimination coach, and I help Christian women learn how to love life again, or sometimes honestly for the first time, by eliminating their debilitating fears. That the issue here is, right, is that the fears hold us captive, whether we realize it or not. So when you hear me say by eliminating the debilitating fears that hold them captive, sometimes we're not always aware that our fears are actually holding us captive, just like we're not always aware that what we think we're trying to do to rest is not what we're trying to do to rest. And why do I know about this? Well, because I have lived a life of burnout. I have lived a life of anxiety. I have lived a life where I was down to literally my last ounce of strength, and I didn't know what else to do other than to cry out to God. And over the past 10 years, I have learned how to address all four what I call foundations of wellness, starting first and foremost with agape love, which is really what we're honing in on today. That is the absolute extreme love of God that put Christ on the cross that we will never fully be able to understand, but it's God's unconditional love, and learning what our identity is inside of that love and who God is, who he says he is, who he will always be, but also who he says we are. And second is nervous system regulation. So taking all of those things that I just said and teaching our nervous system that it's safe. Have you ever considered that maybe you don't actually believe it's safe to rest? Ooh, now there's a thought. Put a mirror me in the comments if you think that maybe your body doesn't actually know how to rest, because that's a big sign that you don't think it's safe to rest. And I have lived that. My kids make fun of me. They say I don't have an off switch because I just keep going and going and going and going. You know what that leads to? That leads to adrenal burnout, which is another one of my foundations of wellness, nutrition, and how our nutrients interact in our body and what happens. What happens during adrenal burnout? Well, your adrenals are more important than almost any other thing going on in your body outside of like your heart and your lungs, and they will literally steal nutrients from things like your thyroid and other parts of your body so that they can keep going. So this is something we absolutely have to address. And then my fourth foundation of wellness is physical wellness. We're not going to talk about that one today. We're not going to talk about nutrition today. We're going to be talking about agape love, nervous system regulation. More importantly, we're going to be talking about eagles. What? All right. So I've been there. I made it through. I'm on the other side. I know what it's like to be so exhausted that you can barely function every single day. I know what it's like to have every single meal, your stomach hurts so bad that you don't want to eat, but you have to because you have no other choice. I know what it's like to be so bloated. You look like you're pregnant. Like, there was a point in my life where I had gone through so much stress and I had gotten so sick that I'm a pretty small person. I weighed about 118 pounds normally. I had dropped down to 100 pounds, but I looked like I was like 3 months, 4 months pregnant because I was constantly bloated. Every single thing I ate made me bloated. And I'm gonna sit here right now as a nutritionist. I'm gonna tell you right now that until I started to learn how to calm and regulate my mind, the nutrition part was incredibly important, but it didn't make the impact that it needed to until I learned how to actually rewire my mind and my nervous system into understanding that I was safe. Okay? I've gone through the panic attacks. Yeah. Anytime any of this sounds like you, I want you to put me or me in the comments. Okay? So I've been through the panic attacks mostly when I was driving or going on a long trip or traveling or going on vacation where I felt like I couldn't breathe and I just wanted to like pull the skin off of me because I thought, well, maybe that's going to help me breathe before. I've had the irrational thoughts where a spider bit me and oh my gosh, that must mean I'm going to die. I have had the terrifying thoughts of I can't go anywhere or do anything because I'm going to poop my pants. Like I'm going to run to the bathroom 27 times. I have been in the depths. And once I learned the things that I'm teaching you on these live series every Tuesday at 11 a.m. inside my private group, Rooted in Perfect Peace, Anxiety and Burnout Freedom for Christian Women, put a group in the comments if you want access to that group. All right, I'll make sure that I get you the link personally. So when I go live in this group, I am teaching you how to move beyond these things so that you can actually live with joy. You can wake up and be happy every single day. Does that not sound amazing and maybe a little different from how you live now? I'm talking real joy, even when you're like bawling. I was sitting on my daughter's waterbed mattress leaked a couple of weeks ago, and I was sitting on, wow, the sun came out. I was sitting on this waterbed mattress trying to like shove the last of the water out after it had already completely like soaked over the bed, through the floor, into the basement. I was crying on this mattress, and all of a sudden I hear God start laughing in my head. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Are you seriously laughing right now? And he just kept laughing. And the next thing I knew I was laughing, and I was just absolutely filled with the joy of the Spirit, even though I was still sad, I was still upset. But there's a difference between that feeling and that just emotion that comes from God. And so I'm going to separate those two terms. I'm also going to try to shut this curtain in front of me. Hey, somewhat better. Needs a little more. Okay, my apologies. Woo, isn't that better though? Wow, you can actually tell there's like stuff behind me now. Okay, so Isaiah 40:31. So if you are unfamiliar with this one, anytime I say a Bible verse, just put that in the chat for me, okay? Just again, we know that you're here, we know that you're focused, we know that we're paying attention. So Isaiah 40:31. And I'm going to say it from memory here, so pardon me if I get a word or two wrong. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and not faint. All right, this has been one of my life verses. What is a life verse? A life verse means that like God has given it to you as a promise. He has shown it to you. And when God gives you a promise, it's not just for now, it's forever. Okay, so Isaiah 40:31 was actually given to me back when I was a teacher in Saluda, South Carolina. The cat is now laying on all of my notes. Look at this. Isn't that just like a cat to do that? Back when I was in Saluda, South Carolina, and we read a book by Ben Michelson called Petey. This book, we were in a public school. This book was about a man who had cerebral palsy, like from the vantage point of him. And it was not a Christian book. To my knowledge, Ben Michelson is not a Christian author. But at the very, very end of the book, after talking about all the trials, all the tribulations, and all the victories that Petey underwent throughout his life, was Isaiah 40:31. Those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will rise and not faint. And for Petey, a man who has cerebral palsy, like, to put that at the end of a book is absolutely profound, because the only way he could actually physically do that would be when he died and he got his new body. All right, but he mentally learned how to do that and to live like that throughout the book, which is just absolutely amazing. It stuck with me ever since then. Even though back then I wasn't really living for God, even though back then I was still searching a lot, even though back then all I knew that verse meant was that we were going to have a little bit of encouragement, I guess, from it. That if we wait for God, we will renew strength. So do me a favor, actually, put in the comments, before I go any further, let's just take a moment, put in the comments, what does that verse actually mean to you? I'm going to give you a little bit of think time while I pet the kitty here. So what does, those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. What does that actually mean to you? What do you think it means? So I'm going to give you a minute. We'll get some nice kitty action in here while we wait. And if you're watching the replay, you can literally just pause it and then type. All right, so if you're still typing and you're watching the replay, press pause and keep typing. This is Fable, by the way. He's probably going to be my live friend once he realizes how I'm setting up here. And he is a kitty who loves tummy rubs, which is just enough for me to steal my notes from him. All right, so why are we talking about this week? Well, because eagles have been a huge part of this year. So if you follow Lorna Vaughn, she's been talking about for a while how this is the year of the eagle. The Chinese New Year has declared that it is the year of the snake, and God told her, no, it is the year of the eagle. And it was amazing and fascinating because eagles actually eat snakes. But so eagles have been kind of on the mind. But more than that, I actually have seen a lot of eagles lately. So in the area that I live, it's not uncommon to see one every couple of months, but we go up towards Lake Erie quite a bit in the summer. And across the Sandusky Bay from where we stay, there is an eagle's nest somewhere over there. So there are some eagles that fly by. So I was out on the bay on my paddleboard last weekend, and there was an eagle. And it was a day where the water was pretty rough. I had a fight for every single stroke that I was making to go against the waves. And when I saw this eagle flying overhead, I just stopped and I looked and I marveled at it. And then I heard this stirring in my spirit, because I was talking to God. That is where I talk to God, is on the water. And God said, I want you to watch that eagle. I want you to tell me what you're learning from it by watching it. And so here are some of the things that I noticed, and I'll be referring to my notes a little bit. So one of the things that I noticed was this eagle was up there and it was circling. So what was it doing? Okay, put a hunting in the comments. It was looking for food. Whoa! My cat's trying to cross-post new pages, sorry. All right, so it's circling. It's hunting. It was up there, it was circling, it was looking to see, can I find food? And as it circled, it would move little by little to new spots as it continued circling. And one of the things that struck me while I was watching this eagle circle, now the sun will go away, reopen this, was that eagle was 1000% honed in on its goal. Like, it knew that it was out there to get food, and it wasn't going to let anything interrupt it. Now, how many things are you actually doing right now? Like, I think it's not called multitasking. Our brains literally cannot multitask and do two things at once. You just shift your focus back and forth, and then you lose a little bit from each of the things that you're putting your attention on. But there's a term that I can't remember, but our brain can do things like perform physical movements like walking and listen to a video. But how many things are you trying to do right now? Like, are you trying to answer emails while you're watching this right now? What are you focused on? That is one of the key first lessons that I pulled out, is what are you focused on? If you are constantly focused on how tired you are, how exhausted you are, how worn out you are, how all the nervous, anxious, irrational thoughts and fears that go through your brain, that is what you are honed in on. When you say you want to change, you either need to make a decision to change, or you need to get help learning how to make that decision to change. Because when your focus is not on God, when it is not on His love, when it is not on what your identity is as His daughter, when it is not on His power, His authority, His ability to do, and consequently your power, authority, and ability to do because of Him, then your focus is on something. You're going to get what your focus is going after. Okay, this is neuroscience. I promised you we're going to tie in and understand and learn how do scientific principles relate to what we learn from the Bible. So what you focus on becomes what you think about. What you think about creates the feelings that you have. And the feelings that you have inform the decisions that you make. So that eagle's up there circling. He is only focused on food. What thought does he have? This was an important one too. What thought did that eagle have? What do you think? Put it in the comments. Pause it if you want to. Let me tell you, y'all, this cat, look at this. Look at this. He is enjoying this moment. This might be a weekly thing, huh? Yeah. All right. So, what was he focused on? He was focused on food. Now, it was another realization that I had out on that paddleboard. That eagle did not wake up that morning and put his little talons together or his wings together and say, please, God, deliver me food today. I'm starving and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I need you. I need you to come through. Now, I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm kind of making fun of me. I'm trying to emphasize something for you right now. That eagle did not wake up and beg like a widow who just lost her husband. Please bring him back. I don't know how to live. I don't know how to make it through. That eagle woke up and probably didn't pray because it's a bird, but if it had prayed, it would have prayed like a bride. It would have said, I am expectant. I am excited. I get to go out and hunt for food today, and I will find food. That eagle was not worried about whether or not it would find food. That eagle only had one intent. I will find food today. Okay? I will find food today. So its focus was solid. And there was an expectation inside of that focus. And that's one of the keys, right? You want to get out of the hole that you're in. You have to stop We have to reverse engineer this eagle. He's up here looking down, right? You have to stop looking at the hole and what that hole looks like and how that hole feels and all the circumstances surrounding that hole. And you have to look up outside of that hole and you have to put your focus on, I will expect that I am getting out of this with God's help and provision. Okay? So that is a big difference. When my husband of 7 years left me when we had just had a daughter and she was 5 months old, there came a point where it got so bad, I didn't know how I was going to survive the next day. And I remember being in a deep, deep, deep dark pit. And when I was in that dark pit, I knew that above it there was a pinprick of light, and it was my redemption story. All I could see was a pinprick of light. Some days not even that, but I knew it was up there. And I made a bold decision during that time that when, not if, when I got out, I would dedicate my life to making sure nobody ever had to go through what I was going through in that time. And when I got out, there is an out. Did it happen instantaneously? No. I watched that eagle circle for an hour. And it didn't find food in that hour, but it didn't give up either. All right, it kept going different places and it didn't give up. So put in the comments for me, perseverance. Put in the comments, perseverance. I think it's James who says, consider it joy when you encounter trials of different kinds because it produces in you perseverance. All right, evidently we're going to go back and forth on the curtain today. So it's really important to understand the lighting. Come on. I'm getting distracted by it. I'm sorry. That's why I keep changing it. It's really important to understand where our help comes from. Our help comes from the Lord. Our focus needs to be on the Lord. And we have to believe and come in expectation and pray with the identity, the power, and the authority that we have. If we have given our lives over to Christ, then at the cross, we were given power. We were given a new identity. We were given authority. The problem is our body and our mind and our culture, which is informing how our body and our mind react, they haven't quite accepted this yet. Okay? They haven't seen our new man identity as being totally safe. It thinks, well, I haven't lived in that identity, and so I need to react like I always have. And so we need to learn, unlike that eagle who just has this beautiful built-in innate ability to go out and think, I will find food today. We have to learn how to do that. We have to actually learn how to move our focus onto the Lord and his power and his promise. So that's incredibly, incredibly important. So another thing that I noticed was that eagle's eyes were laser focused as it moved fully on its target. It didn't stop going after what it sought, and neither did it stay in the same spot, right? It was circling like I was telling you, and as it circled, it slowly moved to other places, sometimes so far away that it was out of my sight. And it stayed really high up, like really high up, where it could see this big swath of water and of land. And if it still didn't find anything, it came back. Okay, so it came back. So put in the comments for me, persistence. Persistence, all right? So that eagle had amazing persistence. It never, ever, ever stopped. I need to memorize like where this comes from. I know it's 1 Thessalonians. Is it 5:16? Somebody find it for me and put in the chat, please. But it says, rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in every circumstances. Ouch. Pray always. I'm getting clawed and it hurts and it's distracting. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances. Okay? 1 Thessalonians. I think it's 5:16, but I'm not positive. What are the keys in there? What do? You rejoice what? Put it in the comments. Always. How do you pray? Put it in the comments. Pray continually. When do you give thanks? Put it in the comments. Give thanks in all circumstances. Paul was teaching a huge lesson right there. What did it say? Let your words be a meditation to my mind and always on my lips. Write your word across your forehead and on your doorposts. It's Old Testament, it's New Testament. It's been told to us. We need to know the word. We need to be in the word. We need to repeat the word. We need to remember the word. We need to constantly meditate on the word. Meditation is not a bad word, all right? To meditate means to chew on. So we need to constantly meditate on the word. This is neuroscience. Like, science is finally catching up to what the Bible has been saying since before Christ. That when we constantly put our focus somewhere, we actually start to rewire our brain. So if you drive a push car, for example, I want you to think of this as an example. So at some point in your life, you probably drove a car that was not a push button car. And if you can remember back to when you got your first push button car, or when you had to start driving a push button car, what did you try to do? I don't know about you, but I was constantly taking my key, so my fob, I guess, and trying to put it in the ignition. Or I was on my keychain looking for the key to put in the ignition. And then when I remembered, oh, that's not what I do, and I like kind of looked over and I had to find the button to push it, I would push the button, and then what would happen? What happens when you push the button of a car to start it? Well, the electronics turn on, but the car doesn't start. Why? What do I have to do to make the car start? Push the brake. So I would forget. So then I'd have to turn it off, and I'd have to push the brake, and I'd have to turn it on. All right. And so it's the same process. It's the exact same thing. You have to actually, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel uncomfortable. But when you start taking your time and just praise God, acknowledge Him throughout the day. That's the first easiest step. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to be like, I don't know what to say. You're going to repeat the same thing over and over again. It doesn't matter. That's okay. That's what you need to do. Because it's starting to change your focus. You stop work and you go to the bathroom, walk however far that is, and praise the Lord. Acknowledge Him. Say hello. Say, I'm glad you're here with me. Lord, thank you for being with me here today. Thank you that I am a new creation. Thank you that you love me, Lord. Thank you that you are in every single situation with me. Thank you that you created the world, Lord, but you also created me, and that you care about and love me. And thank Him that whole time. And when you stop and you go get your lunch out of the fridge, do the same thing. Like every time you change a task, just thank you, Lord, that you're here with me. That's how you start to change your focus. And it's just like how eventually over time, you get in that car now and it's just automatic. Well, eventually over time, you start to stop thinking about those negative thoughts that you always had your mind on, or the bad situation that you're presently in, and you start to see God instead. Your brain literally becomes rewired. Point A to point B is now point A to point B. Okay, it's different now. So there's a physical change that happens because you're doing that. All right, so what else did I learn from this eagle? So I also learned from this eagle that it did rest in the middle of what it was doing, because it does get tired, and it rested in one of two ways. That day, it actually only rested by soaring. So, instead of flapping its wings, it would glide. It would glide on the clouds. Okay, that is one way that eagles rest. They use the air current to keep them up. It expends less energy. We are to rest in the Lord. We're to put our hope in the Lord. Matthew 28:14. Oh my gosh, I'm doing bad today. 14:28 through 30. Matthew 14:28 through 30. Come to me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And then he tells us that we can give him our burden, that we can take his yoke, for his yoke is easy and light, and in it we will find rest for our souls. We'll find rest. If you keep doing, you're working harder, you're hustling harder, you're pounding pavement harder, looking for rest, then you're looking the wrong place for rest. Now, are you in a season where you have to hustle? Maybe. Maybe not. But if you're doing that thinking, if I keep doing this, then I can rest. If I keep doing this, then I can rest. If I can do this, then maybe I rest. Give me a mirror me in the comments if that's you. Then your thinking is inaccurate. You have to learn how to rest in the hustle. And then you start to learn whether or not the hustle is necessary, or what parts of it may or may not be necessary, based on the situation and the season that you are presently in. Cat's sitting on the computer. All right. So what else? What else did I learn? So on my paddleboard, I noticed something on my paddleboard. When I was standing up and I was paddling against the waves, I was fighting for every single inch of forward movement. It was really tiring. It was really difficult, even if I thought it was fun. Does that not sometimes sound like how we strive? Put a yes or a yes in the comments if sometimes like being busy is actually fun, but you're still like fighting for all of that forward momentum. Now, when I sat on the paddleboard, I noticed that it was actually a lot easier. I was going the same direction. Okay, so I had the same resistance. There's less air resistance because I shortened that by making it smaller by sitting. But my cat keeps like finding how to do the spotlight feature, which I don't even know how to do. But it was easier. And I also noticed that the sound of the water no longer sounded as menacing against my board when I was in a position of sitting. And I related that to the eagle changing from expending all of its energy to just soaring. Okay. And then when I turned around and let the current carry me, it took me an hour to go out as far as I went that day. It took me 10 minutes to get back in. God can work out in your life in a week what it has taken years to unravel. It's absolutely phenomenal what it is that he can do. And so I left that day and he gave me 4 keys, which I'm going to pass on to you today. So how do we learn how to rest? It's not by working harder. Okay, we can combine biblical principles with neuroscience. And I know like, oh, Christy, you saw an eagle. That's not really biblical principles, but it's already been 33 minutes. I think what I'll do next week is we will go deeper into the actual meaning of Isaiah 40:31. But I'm taking the lesson from the eagle because this is a life verse that God has given me. And he has said, like, he's made me pay really close attention to these eagles. And so he left me that day with 4 keys that I'm going to pass on to you. So you should write these in the comments and then go back and write them in your notes. So number 1, singularity of focus. So write that in the comments. Singularity or single-minded focus. That means we can't be double-minded. Okay, a house divided against itself cannot stand. We cannot serve God and serve money too. A house cannot have 2 masters. We cannot be double-minded between this is what the world says we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to act and how we're supposed to feel and the expectation. A woman the other day, I said something about like burnout on a question, and she said, burnout's just every day. Burnout doesn't have to be every day. Even if you're living a fast-paced life, even if you're the leader of 7 corporations, independent businesses, whatever, burnout does not have to be how you define life. God says, do not be anxious, do not worry, that He's going to take care of things. Those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. I don't hear any burnout in that verse. So we take the lesson from the eagle. We mount up on wings like eagles, and we take the lesson from him, singularity of focus. What is that singularity of focus? It's not your career. It's not even your family. It's God. That singularity of focus is God. And we have to train our minds as to how to get there. Next, faith. What I need is there. So put in the comments. Number 2, faith. What I need is there. That eagle went out knowing that the food was there. What do you need? Peace? It's there. Rest? It's there. Finances? It's there. A job? It's there. I don't want to downplay what you're going through right now. I know it's hard. I know it doesn't feel like it's there. But we're talking learning how to live from a kingdom perspective, not just an earthly one. And when we start putting that singularity of focus on the thing that we need and we know that it's there, our brains have a special function in it called the reticular activating system. Remember shopping for a new car and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere? It's because your brain has honed into it and knows that that's what you're looking for. It's going to do the same thing. That's why faith works. One of the reasons, not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons faith works. It's going to do the same thing. You know it's there because you know it's God. And so your brain starts looking for evidence of it. It's one of the amazing ways that God built us so that we could make it in this crazy world that we live in. Key number 3, perseverance. Write that in the comments. Perseverance. The eagle never stopped searching. He kept moving, he kept searching, and he was going to keep going until he found it. We also have to have perseverance. Neuroscience shows that if we're going to take something and turn it into a habit, just a lifestyle, a routine part of our lifestyle that we live, that we have to repeat it 7 times a day over 63 days consistently. We have to keep going after it. The first few days are the hardest, so start and just keep going. And then finally, rest. So rest. The eagle would glide in the air. We are to sit in God and allow His current to carry us. Rest is a gift. As Graham Cook says, you cannot earn a gift from God, but you can learn a gift from God. Rest is a gift. You can't earn it, but you can learn it. Put that in the comments. Learn to rest. Okay, number 4, learn to rest. So, I hope this was super extra helpful for you today. I hope it gave you some strategy, some hope. And leave in the comments just what you took away from this. And if you are not in my private Facebook group, I would love to extend an invitation. Just put group in the comments and I will come back and I'll make sure that you get a personal invitation into my group. Once you are in here, you get to join together with a community of other Christian women, so it is women only, other Christian women who are serious about escaping burnout, escaping anxiety, and you get tips and tricks and free materials from me as to how you can do that, and you can expand your learning and your growth while you're here so that you can finally step into that freedom that you've been craving. And if you have any interest in just talking about what it is that you're going through and just wondering, like, is this really overcomable? I would absolutely love the opportunity to talk to you. DM me. Let's start a conversation. We can hop on the phone, we can hop on Zoom, we can just talk through DM. I want to be here for you. I want to give you hope, and I want to let you know that anything is possible. Can't see it anymore. Team 413. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. All right, my friend. God bless. I'll see you again next Tuesday, 11 a.m. in my group, Rooted in Perfect Peace, Anxiety and Burnout Freedom for Christian Women. Until then, check me out on Facebook. Make sure you're following. Find my YouTube channel, my Instagram channel, subscribe, follow everywhere, and I will see you soon.